Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Let's take a look at all the series that I am currently in the middle of. And let me tell you, there is 22 series that I am in the middle of. What is happening? And this is only the series that I'm planning on continuing reading. There's also series that I have stopped after book 2 and was like, nah, not gonna happen. The first 2 book series I have is about Second World War. I am extremely interested in Second World War. I have read a bunch about how the war was in Denmark, and now I have kind of continued to see how it was in France. So before I start talking about those, I am so sorry if I can't pronounce the names right. I am not good at French. The first book series is The Girl with the Blue Bicycle by Regina Deforges. I hope that's right. It's about Leah, who is rich and lives with her family in South France. She lives there when the war starts, and throughout the first book she is shifting a bit by living with her family there, but mostly she is living in Paris with her aunts. We hear from her how the war is starting in France, and we kind of follow her thoughts and feelings about this war, and at the same time we are following a bunch of other characters throughout this war in France, and it's so interesting. I'm not a big fan of Leah until now. I have read the 2 first books, and I think there is 10 books, so she has a lot of opportunities to become a better character, but I'm not a big fan of it until now. But I read 2 out of 10 books in that series, and I am invested in it. I just feel like it's hard when you're not interested in the lead character, you know. The next series I am in the middle of reading. I only read 1 book. It is a graphic novel that is called The Children of the Resistance. It's by Vincent Dugomier and Benoit Ers. It's a book about resistance, and it's kids that is making this resistance against the German tropes. I really want to continue this. Maybe I will make a whole reading weekend where I'm just borrowing all the graphic novels in this series and just read them all one by one. The next book is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is a reread. I have read the 2 first books this time, and I am planning on reading the next 3, but it's a reread. I'm actually not that invested in it this time as I was the first time I read it. I think everybody knows what A Court of Thorns and Roses is, but it is this girl who lives with her sisters and her dad, and she basically have all the responsibility on her shoulders. She is responsible for the whole family, and one day she kills this wolf, which turns out to be a fairy. Because of that, she is kidnapped by a fairy prince that brings her to his world. It's kind of Beauty and the Beast-ish. Then we have Fourth Wing by Rebekka Yarros, and I actually I fucked up. I have read the first book, and I always mistakes which book is the next. I know it's Iron Flame, it's not Onyx Storm, and I borrowed Onyx Storm and I got to read a chapter where I was just like, what is happening here? Until I realized it was the 3rd book, so I basically just spoiled a lot of the 2nd book for myself. Thank you very much! Fourth Wing is about this girl who has studied to be this writer, but her mom forces her to become a part of the troupe. And literally, if you don't pass the test in this troupe, you're dying. You can't survive if you're not passing this test. And everybody else on this test has been training for it their whole lives, while our main character has had a couple of weeks maybe to train for this test. I'm invested in it. I am a little sad that I got to read the first part of this third book instead of reading them the right way, but it's great. Then we have the Baker Street Mysteries by Holly Hepburn. Kinda don't want to continue. It's about this girl who becomes the assistant of Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes does not exist. The bank she is working at gets a lot of letters to Sherlock Holmes because it's located on Baker Street where Sherlock Holmes should live. And she starts to answer all these letters, and suddenly she starts to take on some of the mysteries. Then we have Blood and Ash and The Night of the Moth. These two I'm not sure if I'm going to continue either. I feel like they are such classic dystopian books. I feel like they were much like each other, and both books I was like, could tell what was going to happen, and it was basically the same plot twists. We have Selection by Kiera. I have read the first 3, so I have read the main series, and then we have 2 books about her daughter that I'm also going to read. Selection is about this girl who comes to the palace and has to be in this contest about being the next queen. I mostly read this because it's nostalgia. It's nostalgia for me. I read it 10 years ago and I liked it then. And the same is with the next book, Evermore by Alyson Noel. It was one of the first books that I read and I loved it. And I never got to read the rest of the series, so now I read the first book again and I'm planning on reading the rest. But let me tell you, I am not feeling Ever like I did when I was younger. I loved Ever when I was younger. I don't anymore. We have Chestnut Springs by Elsie Silver. It's just cozy. I need that. Then we have a bunch of Danish series, and I'm just telling those and not anymore. If you are interested in hearing more about the Danish books that I read, let me know. I can make a video about Danish books I want to be translated to English. So let me hear. We have Rebekka Holm, which is a krimi. We have Lugnasad, which is a fantasy. We have Ravnenes hvisken, which is a fantasy. We have Spektrum, which is a fantasy, or science fiction, maybe even. We have Iltu, which is dystopian. We have Tavse Verdener, which is science fiction. And we have Hanne, which is an old series. Okay, then we have Shadow Falls. It's kind of the same feeling like Evermore and Selection, because I read it when I was younger and I'm rereading it now. And we have Powerless by Laura Roberts. I have read the main series and I missed the 2 books, Powerful and Fearful. I think that's right. Which I feel like is middle books in the series. And then I have They Both Die at the End by Adam Serrera. And I have read the prequel and I have read the first book and I need to read the second book. And then I read them all. So I'm close to finish that. And we have Boys of Tommen by Chloe Walsh, where I have read the 4 first books. But that was all the series I am in the middle of. Let me know what series you are reading right now and what is your favorite series. Oh, I also just started reading Harry Potter again. Yeah. But let me know what series you like to read and give me some recommendations. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye!